It is said that Indo-UK relationship is more guided by economic consideration. The strategic partnership got upgraded, and now the nature changed to that of enhanced partnership for future. One of the foremost target of the FTA between India and UK. The outcomes of this FTA is going to be highly ambitious. So now one of the key concern is the non-negotiable stand which India is taking as far as the clinical drug trials is concerned. If any such FTA happens with India, it would be a great impetus to the financial stability in UK. So in that way also it will be a win-win situation.
Hello aspirants, welcome to a special discussion series with esteemed faculty members of Vision IS. In today's discussion, we'll be talking about the various nuances of India-UK FTA negotiations. To discuss this issue in detail, we have with us Dr. Shruti Joshi ma'am of Vision IS. Ma'am, welcome to the discussion.
Thank you so much, Prateek.
Ma'am, before discussing the FTA issue in detail, could you just explain the broad contours of India-UK relations?
Thank you so much, Prateek. So now if I wish to take forward this understanding of Indo-UK relationship, I think it should be understood like an international relations between Republic of India and United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. So now the journey started post India got independence in 1947, and after that when we become Republic, we even took this conscious decision of being part of Commonwealth. Now during that time, that is when I'm talking about 1950s, this was a time when Cold War was at its peak. And during that time, as we know, the international landscape was that the entire world politics got divided into broad two camps. And it was at this crucial point that India took a very conscious and a very brave decision of not taking any side, and herein we started NAM. So we became the leaders of the global south somehow, and we started spearheading this idea. So it was from this point actually when diplomatically also India-UK started diverging. So this was one of the idea. Also, if you see during this time, our tilt was somehow more towards, slowly, steadily during Cold War, our tilt was somehow moving more close to USSR. And of course, USSR was representing that Eastern Bloc, which was subsequently very opposed to the Western or the European Bloc, right? So the idea was somehow India, UK were not falling, at the same position. Now, it was also during the same phase, precisely if I say from 1947 to 97, I should be taking few of the important moments. So, for instance, when India took over Goa from Portuguese, it was UK which definitely made a very strong stance against India. It was also UK only which took a very strong stance against India, of course not from our side, when Kashmir issue was also being raised. It was same UK which even denounced India when India went forward for nuclear test. So there are a number of occasions when India, UK were at a diplomatic, opposing position. At the same time, if I need to take forward my student to the Suez Canal crisis, it was India then when reacted and actually denounced UK and the West for taking over, making this invasion on Egypt also. So even India took forward this thing, taking forward Indo-UK relations, not in a very nice way we can say. Of course, there were contradictions in it. So as I was discussing, Indo-UK relationship were developing a tense situation, but somehow things started changing in the late 1990s. So what happened in late 1990s? Somewhere in 1990s, India started adopting this LPG, that is liberalization, privatization and globalization norms. And moment India entered into this global world, also how Indian economy got so much entrenched with the global economy, India became one of the most attractive hotspots as far as West was concerned. UK also found India to be a very superb, good, wide consumer-based market, and this was a time when Indo-UK relationship started moving a bit more positive way. This is the reason, Prateek, as for few analysts, it is said that Indo-UK relationship is more guided by economic consideration rather than any political or normative consideration. Now, after 1997 comes 2000, and in 2004, for the first time, we got a name to Indo-UK relationship, and Indo-UK relationships, the relationship was now termed as a strategic partnership. So now we had a strategic partnership with UK as well. Cut to comes 2010, the strategic partnership got upgraded, and now the nature changed to that of enhanced partnership for future. This means both India and UK started witnessing themselves somewhere in the future also. In 2010 only, UK Prime Minister David Cameron made a historic visit to India. And he did say that Indo-UK relationship is now going to witness this special relationship in future as well. However, in 2015 and then in 16, Europe witnessed this Brexit. And when Brexit came, of course, it had a repercussion, not only in this Europe region, but also in South Asia. And here in India, as a very important regional actor, started gaining opportunity. Brexit came as a nice way of rapprochement between India and UK region, because most of the health sector or the education sector, the service sector, before Brexit was dominated by European nationals. And once Europe made a retreat within UK, that vacuum now was being filled by the Indian professionals. If I give you a data that is of 2023, I believe, more than 2.5 lakh of professionals, skilled professionals from India are right now in UK. So 2016 also saw this rapprochement going very firmly between India and UK. Then it was in 2021. Our relationship, which was enhanced partnership for future, now became even more qualified, and it became comprehensive strategic partnership. In the same year, we even adopted 2030 roadmap for Indo-UK relationship, and this roadmap was very comprehensive. It included revitalizing the social relationship or social connection between India and UK. It aimed at revitalizing India-UK defense cooperation as far as Indo-Pacific is concerned, especially keeping into mind the rising Chinese aggression. This roadmap also included immense plans for cooperation in field of S&T, R&D, clean energy, climate change. And last but not the least, it was the beginning of a very, very nice India-UK economic partnership. So this roadmap now took forward India-UK economic partnership further as well.
Okay, ma'am. So economic relations is what is driving India and UK broader relationship, right? So ma'am, in this context, could you briefly elaborate about the proposed free trade agreement that is ongoing for the last 2 years between India and United Kingdom?
Okay, so Prateek, before we dwell into that space of Indo-UK FTA agreement, we need to understand what is the trade profile or what is the economic relationship. So now taking forward this roadmap 2030 of 2021, what happened in April 2022, Boris Johnson, he made a historic visit to India. And when Boris Johnson made a visit again, this was the first time actually when FTA was being started discussing very seriously between India and UK. And it was said that it had a great potential ahead. However, we all know this year 2022 was quite politically turbulent for UK, because then in between we had Liz Truss coming up into power, and she had a very small political stint. And then in October 2022, Rishi Sunak became the 57th Prime Minister of UK. Again, when Rishi Sunak came into power, keeping into mind his Indian lineage also and connection, it was being prophesied that definitely in future Indo-UK FTA, which is one of the most sought free trade agreement talk we are having with any of the world countries, that would take a great momentum. In fact, Prateek, if I would like to say, when Boris Johnson made a visit, it was a Diwali target which was being set up. So that was somewhere near October 2000 or November 2022. It was at that point when, because of the political instability, the regime change happened. So this Diwali target we were not able to meet. Next year, that is somewhere in November 2023, there was another Diwali target which was set. And it was being said definitely within a year we would be able to come out with this FTA and we would be finalizing. But the issue is that every time this goalpost kept on shifting. And now when there has been a regime change, now when Labour Party has come up into power, and Keir Starmer always, in his election manifesto also, he had talked a lot about FTA. We are having a very strong optimism that somehow in future FTA will definitely be finalized very soon. So now coming up to this point that what is this free trade agreement? So you see, Pratik, the idea is having a very comprehensive free trade regime between India and UK. So it would involve not only free movement of goods, it would also involve free movement of services, including mode 4 of service, that is professional service people from India. It will also include immense ideas regarding the IPR norm, and it will also include investment protection. So all in all, there are 4 important areas we are dwelling as far as FTA is concerned.
Ma'am, could you please share some of the key objectives of this proposed FTA?
Yes, Pratik. So one of the key objective of this FTA, and when I say FTA, we need to take forward the base time was 2022. So it was being said that somewhere by 2030, we would be doubling our trade potential. This is one of the foremost target of the FTA between India and UK. Apart from that, as I said, there would be greater market accessibility as far as goods is concerned, as far as services is concerned. The idea is to create a greater investment protection regime, and this idea is more in case of India, and also as far as IPR norms are concerned, greater accessibility and negotiations would be made. The objective also is to increase or give impetus to the employment. In fact, if I would like to quote former UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's word, he says the outcomes of this FTA is going to be highly ambitious. So this is a very ambitious trade deal which we are going to finalize.
So there are so many objectives that we are fulfilling through this FTA. So what are the roadblocks from Indian and British perspective in achieving this FTA?
Okay, Pratik. So now the issue is that despite of so many negotiations and table talks which were being having, why still this FTA is not being finalized? Why every time this is being getting postponed? One reason I would say, and I would try to categorize challenges from UK side or concerns from UK side and concerns which India is raising. One of the most important challenge from UK perspective is, first of all, as I said, political instability. Because back to back we have seen for last 2 years there have been great political turmoil. So this has definitely played a very important role in somehow creating a roadblock as far as the finalization is concerned. The second important thing is what UK is expecting, and somehow India is not negotiating on those terms. So the first important concern which UK has is greater market accessibility in India as far as automobile sector is concerned, and as far as whiskey and the liquor or the Scotch sector is concerned. And of course, these are few of the critical areas where India is hesitating in giving an unbridled concession to UK. Second important concern which UK has been posing is a very strong data protection policy from India. UK has also been asking for a very strong investment protection regime from India, wherein UK wants to create and UK wants that infrastructure or ecosystem to be created in India, wherein their companies, if they are investing, will not be lost in long-term arbitration process or grievance process. So these are two of the concerns which UK have been posing, and India have been thinking on these terms. Now, what are the key concerns which India has been raising? So now one of the key concern is the non-negotiable stand which India is taking as far as the clinical drug trials is concerned. Now, what does that mean? So now herein two important aspects comes up. A very firm stand which India has taken against data exclusivity and patent term extension. Data exclusivity means that if a company is manufacturing, suppose, a medicine, then that company is having an entire control, an exclusive control and claim over all the data which has come out of the clinical drug trials. So India is opposing this idea because, of course, this idea goes against the life-saving, affordable generic drugs which are very much essential in India. Also linked with this idea is that many of the companies start then exploiting this data exclusivity factor, and herein they start extending their patent. So the patent term extension again goes against the generic industry or drugs industry in India. So these are two of the very important factors on which India actually don't want to negotiate or don't want to give concessions to UK. Second important challenge from Indian side is the entire idea of data protection. So see, Prateek, India is not denying that we will not create ecosystem for data protection. We are saying we are working from that. But there is another very important factor on which India don't want to give undue concession, and that is data localization. Now, what does data localization means? Data localization means storing of data, of course, of your personnels in a device located within the territory of a country. And India has a very firm view regarding data localization because of the security concern. Now, UK want data dispersion, but we are very strongly standing for data localization. In fact, Prateek, I would like to say that one of the major factor right now, if someone asks, between Global North and Global South is this idea. The idea that Global South stands very firmly for data localization, including India. So this is second important issue, or you can say a challenge between India-UK FTA. Third important challenge is regarding government procurement. So now India does not want to give again undue concession to UK as far as its procurement policy is concerned, especially keeping into mind the small scale industry, because India of course is very much touchy, very much concerned about its small scale sector. So India don't want to create changes that much into its government procurement policy, which could have detrimental effect to its small scale industry. So this is the third important issue. The fourth and the most important issue, I believe, and this is a perennial issue actually, this is the issue regarding the service sector. And when I say service sector, this is the mode 4 service within GATT. And that is how a no entry regime every now and then is being imposed by Europe or the West on India, and how the visa norms are being tweaked. So India has been asking for a greater market accessibility to our skilled professionals in UK. And let me tell you, Prateek, that there is a bipartisan consensus between the present Labour government and the previous Tories also as far as cutting off immigration is concerned. So this fourth aspect is actually a very, very strong challenge between India-UK FTA.
Ma'am, with the recent victory of the Labour Party in UK elections, how do you see this negotiation playing out?
Okay, so Prateek, moment Labour Party came up into power after a long gap of 14 years, it was said that a great hope and optimism now is there as far as realization, finalization of FTA is concerned. We need to understand what are the reasons. Point number one is why we are having a strong hope, because we are thinking now political stability will come up in UK. And once there is political stability, of course, there would be a great fillip to the economic equations also. Second is, you see, Prateek, it's not that only India wants this trade deal to happen. UK also wants trade deal to happen. What could be the reason? The reason is the immense economic presence which India has made in UK. If I need to give few statistics, I would say that, you see, more than 120 projects India and Indian-made entrepreneurs are running in UK. And thereby they are able to generate more than 5,000 jobs. More than 800 Indian companies right now are working in UK with overall revenue of $41 billion. And somehow they are creating more than 1 lakh employment opportunities. And it is being said this is somehow one of the largest contribution any Commonwealth country has made in UK. So UK also realizes this, that India is making an immense economic presence and contribution in UK. Also, there is a very, very large diasporic presence of India in UK, and it is this diasporic presence probably which has given support to the present Labour regime also. So these are few of the reasons why we need to be optimistic. Also, there are few other factors. Another very important factor is that post-Brexit, You see, the present regime, the Starmer, when the Labour Party and the Starmer was coming up with the election manifesto, it was being said they are guided by this idea of progressive realism. That is, they realize that what is the geopolitical complexities not only in Europe but in South Asia also. Keeping into mind this idea of progressive realism, India appears to be a very, very potent factor emerging as a counterbalance to China in South Asia, and this is definitely what UK and US wants from India. So again, therefore, Indo-UK FTA, I believe, is going to be the topmost priority. Also keeping, again, the same idea of progressive realism, I would like to say that, the Starmer regime or the Labour Party definitely, right from the election manifesto, was trying to woo India's attention. And like a number of things happened during the election manifesto, celebration of Diwali festival, celebration of Holi festival. Also at the same time, how the Keir Starmer has been weeding out anti-Indian sentiments from his own party. So a signal right from the beginning, before even winning the election, was being given that once we are coming into power, Indo-UK FTA would be one of the foremost priority. So I believe there are a number of reasons which are guiding actually for this FTA to happen, and I'm sure I'm quite optimistic that, keeping into mind not only economic consideration but this geostrategic consideration also, definitely this particular FTA will go ahead. But at the same time, there could be few challenges even with this Labour regime. So number one challenge with this Labour regime is, as I said before also, there is a bipartisan consensus since before only that there is an issue regarding this immigration, and there is a bipartisan consensus on anti-immigration laws. So now how Labour Party tries to maneuver this consensus at domestic politics is a big challenge for themselves. However, the signal which they have given that they would be providing temporary visa entry, I believe it's a very nice act of strategic balancing by the newly elected Labour government. The second important challenge which I would feel this government is going to face is the diplomatic divergence which India and UK is having at various other issues, be it the Ukraine issue, be it any other issue between global north and global south. So these could be few more important challenges which this present government would definitely take forward. But then also I feel that, as I said, progressive realism is very much haunting them. They really want Brexit to turn out to be a successful endeavour for UK. And let us not forget, UK right now is facing from a great financial crisis. So anything good happening with India definitely will add a great potentiality to UK also.
Ma'am, my final question to you is this. How is this proposed FTA going to be a win-win situation for both India and United Kingdom?
Yes, very well said, Prateek. This FTA definitely is going to have a win-win situation for both India and UK. So why it is a win-win situation for UK, first we need to understand. Point number one. Definitely UK will have a greater market accessibility to Indian market as far as all the said sectors are concerned, and that would be a great win for UK. Also, as I said, keeping into mind the newly coming up regime and their agenda that they would turn Brexit, this idea, to be a success, and they would like to take UK out from the financial crisis. If any such FTA happens with India, it would be a great impetus to the financial stability in UK. So in that way also it will be a win-win situation for UK. Also at the same time, why it would be a win-win situation? Because UK definitely will get a very strong partner in terms of India, a strategic partner in terms of India, if they really want to create a very strong narrative against China as far as South Asia, IOR and Indo-Pacific is concerned. Now, why it is going to be a win-win situation for India? Point number one, of course, India will also get a great market accessibility in UK as far as the labor-intensive industries are concerned. And here it will involve the apparel, the textile industry, the gem jewelry industry, the agro-processed products. So the export of India in these labor-intensive products would also increase. Second, why it would be a win-win? Because there would be a very nice deep entry of skilled professionals in the UK market, and this has been something which we have been negotiating a lot before with UK as well. You see, keeping into mind the in-house domestic policies such as the Skill India mission, or keeping into mind the new national education policy which has come up, which is giving a great impetus to vocational and technical training, I believe we are going to generate skilled professionals. And if these skilled professionals are going to get a good entry into UK, it would be, all our in-house efforts would be a great success. Third point, why it would be a win-win situation, because apart from other kind of market accessibility which India would get, India would also be able to ripe a very nice opportunity for enhancing its tourism. And why it would be again a win-win situation for India if this FTA with UK materializes, because it will open the floodgates for the new FTA which India is going to launch with EU, that is BTIA. So we could have a very, very strong vantage point or reference point when now we are negotiating in trade terms with EU as well. Again, I would say we have n number of in-house domestic tourism promotion policies coming up and projects coming up. For instance, the Ganga Vilas project, for instance, the Gandhinagar Mumbai Vista, for instance, the Golden Chariot project. And of course, if there is a greater Indo-India UK FTA, including service sector, there would be a great impetus to our tourism sector. Last but not the least, these are individually the win-win factors. Collectively, I believe, point number one, not only India and UK would be able to, come out from the rough patch which they had before. And like the recent Labour government also said that we are accepting the past mistake which we have made as far as India is concerned over Kashmir issue. This could be a very nice opportunity to mend all those things which had happened with the Labour government and with the Indian regime before, to mend all these things and move forward. Point number two, it would be a very, very nice idea, I believe, from geostrategic angle also. In fact, from economic strategic angle, because not only we are capitalizing on our trade relations, but also we would be able to figure ourselves very firmly into this Indo-Pacific zone against China. But keeping into mind, again, I would like to say, see, things are not that simple in international politics. But always comes there. So, but keeping into mind the financial crisis in UK, keeping into mind the efforts which the present government had to take, we are not sure to what extent financially in defense sector UK would be invested in Indo-Pacific. So, ideologically, technically, of course, UK and India would come together. To what extent financially defense cooperation, may kitna UK would be cooperating, now that is a big question mark, but let's see, we are hoping for our best. Last but not the least, I believe, Indo-UK FTA, if materializes very soon, it would be yet feather in our cap in the comprehensive strategic partnership which we have developed with UK.
Thank you, ma'am, for your valuable insights.
Thank you so much, Prateek.
Dear students, we hope that this discussion session was useful to you. Stay tuned for more discussion. We'll be right back, and all the best.